Hi, this is Tamara at mooglyblog.com, and in this video I want to demonstrate surface single crochet and taller stitches. This is a little different than standard surface crochet, which is primarily just done with slip stitches. So I'm going to be showing you a different way to use surface stitches today. I'm going to be using Lion Brand's Vanna's Choice, and a Furls Odyssey hook. I believe this one is an I, 5.5 millimeters. So let me set that aside. I've used a different color of Vanna's Choice to make a small swatch here, and this is just single crochets. This technique is best worked on either single crochet or half double crochet, although you can work it on any stitches. The reason is those two smaller stitches tend to have a little more square shape, and what you're going to be doing with this stitch is working into the holes in the already made fabric. If I stretch this out over the white here, if I pull it up a little, it's actually a little easier to see. There we go. You can see that the holes in the fabric where the stitches are worked into each other form almost a sort of even grid. And those are the holes we're going to be working on, or working into rather, to add our stitches. So let's get started. Now, normally when I'm working with surface crochet with the regular slip stitch version, I will, sorry, I'm trying to find the end of my contrasting yarn here. It seems to have run off on me. But usually when I'm working with the regular surface crochet, I will have the end underneath the fabric, and I will use the hook to pull it up forward and create sort of an embroidered decorative look. Now, this sort of surface crochet that I'm going to be doing today, typically you could do it decoratively. It could just be a really 3D decoration, but I think it has a little more practical purpose. Say you have a plain field of yarn here, a plain surface, and suddenly you want to have a piece coming straight up out of it, you know, very 3D. This is where you could use this technique. And if you'd like to try it out, I use this technique in a couple patterns on Moogly, including the Bring Your Own bag. This is actually used to create the dividers inside the bag so that it divides the bottles in the 6-pack. So let me show you how it's done. I'm just going to go ahead and pick a spot and say I want to make a line right up the middle, right up there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the slip knot already on my hook, and essentially I'm going to be making a sort of a front post single crochet. So I'm going to decide where I want to start, and this is just for demonstrations. I'm just going to pick a random spot here. I'm going to go in one hole in our grid here, and moving in the direction I want to go in, I'm going to come up in the next hole in that direction, yarn over like so, and finish my single crochet. Alright, so that's one. And you'll notice all the yarn is really staying on top here, both working ends, well, the working end and the tail end are both on top. So underneath, you're going to see some yarn, but really all the work is happening on top. Alright, so for the next one, I'm going to go back in the hole I came out of last time. You can see that right there. So I'll go in there, and then come up again in the direction we're working in. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish the single crochet as normal. So as you can imagine, there's no reason to only head in a straight line. You can make a nice straight line, but you could also head off in a curve, make a 90-degree angle, just take off the other direction. Let's go ahead and do that now, just to show you. Let's say I'm going to go back in that same hole I came out of last time, because I want a nice solid line. Let's say I suddenly want to go to the left. All right, I'll just turn my base fabric here, come up in the next hole to the left, pull up a loop, and finish my single crochet. Now, you can see what this has done. I'm going to straighten it out here a little bit. I've got this 3D row of single crochet coming off my fabric. So say I wanted to create a nice tall section here coming straight up from this fabric, then I would be able to work into these stitches to create a taller piece like that. So this is really useful for 3D pieces. I also use this technique in the Ellie the Elephant Lovey, where we've got a 3D finished head, sort of amigurumi, but because I've got both ends on the outside, you can work surface single crochet in there to start working the blanket off of. You can refer to that pattern. I'll have it linked in the tutorial on Moogly, so you can take a closer look at that. So basically that's surface single crochet. Now, the great thing about this technique is you're not limited to just single crochet. You could absolutely do this with double crochet or half double crochet or really any stitch. The only difference, of course, is that you're going to yarn over before you insert your hook. So let's do that now. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to coat into that same spot we came out of on the last one. And I'll keep going to the left here, because why not? Pull up my loop. And then I can go ahead and finish that as a half double crochet. Now, for the patterns I've done this with, I usually end up doing it with, well, it depends what I'm doing it for. If I want a nice solid fabric, I will do it with single crochet. If I want something softer like a blanket, I'll do it with double crochet. It doesn't really matter. So let's yarn over, go in the same stitch, come up in the next one here, the next hole in the fabric, and I can make this a double crochet. Pull through two, like so. Now, when you get to the end of the row of these, you're going to need to just cut the yarn and finish it off. If you wanted it to stay nice and 3D, that's all right. You don't even have to cut it and finish it off. If you wanted to keep working back and forth in rows, you could absolutely turn and keep working back and forth in rows with this. If you've made a circle with it, you could join. Whatever works for you. It all depends on the pattern you are making, or if you are making it up, what you want to do with it. It just goes to show it's another technique you can use to really do whatever you want with your crochet. If for some reason you wanted it to finish off really smoothly with the fabric, then I wouldn't end with a double crochet. I would say make a single crochet, and then I might bring it down to a slip stitch where I'd go in, yarn over, and pull right through, and then cut that yarn and weave it in underneath if possible. So those are just some ideas with what you can do with surface single crochet and taller stitches. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please do give the video a like if you liked it and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.